Mike Steph, this marks a new beginning. Thanks for supporting a total reinvention. The soul is still here, but the vibe's a little different. Unpredictable, hide the kids and the women. Sports of all sorts, music mixed for living. Rep New York City, but ain't the politician. Always bring the heat, Steph, bacon in the kitchen. Big shout to y'all, I appreciate the listen. Donnie put the rest, but I'm still in the best. In the word of what I do, all y'all know the rest. I live it, I breathe it, I'm the whole definition. The pinnacle, the ultimate, I'm on a new mission. The Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph, featuring the one and only Mike Steph, the best in the world of what he does. Tap in.
What up, people? I said, what up, people? What up, people? Welcome to a special edition of the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast, featuring the one and only Mike Steph, best in the world at what he does. Yeah, man. Hopefully everybody is doing good. Everybody's doing great. Myself, actually, can't really complain. I mean, I can, and I probably will at some point during this recording. But yeah, it is what it is. Got my health. Still trying to overcome this damn bronchitis, or whatever the hell I've been dealing with for the last 4.5 weeks with the cough. Today, well, by the time y'all get it, this weekend was a was a milestone in my life to a certain degree. Like I've told y'all last week, this week, if you're expecting to hear, I swear, just my luck, but I'll get to that in a minute. If you're expecting to hear any sports talk this week, it's not going to happen. If you're expecting to hear me gloat or bask in the glory of the New York Jets actually getting off their 5-game losing skid with a convincing victory over the Houston Texans, guess what? You're not going to hear it on this here episode. I'll probably double back before the week is out, well, before Wednesday, and give y'all a special audio edition breaking down the New York Jets and their miraculous win. Should I say a turnaround? No, I wouldn't go that far, but yeah. This week's edition, this week's episode, as I mentioned last week, and for those who did not watch last week, I did say that I was going to veer off the beaten path. I was going to talk about stuff that probably, well, let's put it this way, I probably will end up talking or saying way too much. But I'm going to talk about me. I'm going to talk about the year anniversary of the day that my life changed for the better. I'm going to discuss somewhat in depth, without really coloring in all the lines, exactly what I've gone through or what I've persevered with or persevered against this last calendar year. And how this platform, the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph, became to be when last year at this time, it was the Salty Thoughts of Donnie Ooh. Also, something happened this weekend that I'm proud to say that I did. I released a EP right now exclusively on Bandcamp. And I did it pretty much, I wouldn't say pretty much, I did it all by myself, which is an accomplishment. Not only that, but the biggest accomplishment is that I did it all by myself as me. Mike Steph, or more specifically, Michael A. Stephens. That's why I was actually debating whether I was even going to have like a little uh, nickname this week. Monica that I go by for the week. Last week was the Heartbreak Kid. The dashing one, best in the world at what he does, all this other good stuff. And I was actually leaning toward no, I'm just going to be Mike Steph. But then I said, you know what? No, it'll probably be more impactful if I actually put what I put down, which is no gimmicks needed. As long-time listeners should know, I am a wrestling fan. And there was a wrestler by the name of Chris Candido, who unfortunately passed away, I want to say almost 18 years ago. And his nickname was No Gimmicks Needed, Chris Candido. And it popped in my mind while I was setting up, and I said, you know what? Eureka. That's it. No gimmicks needed. Because what I accomplished this weekend and what I hope to accomplish on this here episode, that moniker actually fits me to a T. Because it's going to be me at my rawest form, I'm most vulnerable. Like I said, if I were to discuss what I plan on discussing with anybody else, they'd probably be like, Mike, are you out your effing mind? Mike, that's probably a little bit TMI. And don't worry, all my loved ones. I'm not going to do anything, or I'm not going to say anything that's going to really cross the boundaries, but I am going to open the door 3/4 of the way so people can understand exactly what or why I feel such a sense of accomplishment, why I feel so free, why I feel alive. Um, but it's not even so much for people to know, because selfishly, this episode is for me. I discussed it, well, in discussing what might be on tap. I was talking to the good brother from Gimmick Infringement, Tyler McDowell, two-time guest on the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph. And I kind of explained to him that, yeah, it's more of this episode would actually close a circle, but it would not be the end of my journey. Yeah. So, Mia, don't you want to say hi to the people? I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna get a little deep on this one. So if you feel free, if you ever want to come in and just sit down and just, oh, Dad, it's okay. But but come and say hi. I just started.
Oh, you got the Spider-Man? I'm sorry.
Yes, I did. She's looking at my PS5 box, the Spider-Man 2 edition, which I haven't hooked up yet because look at the TV.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's all discolored, right?
What happened?
Oh, magically it just dropped last night. About 15 minutes after I left out the living room and went to lay down, all over here is just a. So, I know you can say whatever you would like.
I was gonna say that's probably Python. You got the PS5.
But no, I won't say that. I won't say that because I just took it out the box today. But yeah, I don't know how it just got knocked over by itself 15 minutes after I left the living room, and I was sitting here for 3 hours. I don't know, maybe because that corner's been disrupted. Just perhaps. But no, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna blame it on nobody else. Whatever happened happened. But yeah, she's talking about my TV. Cat's out the bag. My TV fell on his face last night in my living room. So I'm actually gonna be waiting tomorrow patiently by the door for a replacement. Yeah, that's right. I don't play games when it comes to my TVs.
That was quick.
Shoot, listen, there's a will, there's a way.
Amen.
Yeah, shoot. It was quick when I got your replacement TV too. Well, yeah. So this one being the fact it's holiday season, I did it 5:30 this morning. It should be coming tomorrow afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah, I ain't listening. Sure, I can't be watching this.
It's a disgrace. No.
Yeah, it is a disgrace.
But hi guys, happy holidays.
Yeah, she said happy holidays. So yeah, I done lost track of what I was saying.
Later, guys. Love you.
Love you too. Um, oh yeah, I was telling them, and I was telling y'all that it's more going to be like more of a full circle, 365 degrees in rotation around the sun. But this journey has just begun. It's just going to be the second part of the rest of my journey. So yeah, that's what's on tap this week. Um, like I said, check out the EP that I dropped on Bandcamp, the Trials and Tribulations of Mike Steph EP, 4 tracks, nothing too major. Um, and like I said, it's not even so much about, but just give it a spin. Look, you don't have to buy nothing. I'm not asking anybody to buy anything. If you choose to support, it's greatly appreciated. Greatly, greatly appreciated. But um, that's kind of, I wouldn't say it's going to be in concert with this episode, but they are connected in some ways. That's what it was. Tyler was asking me if this I was going to kind of break down the EP on this episode, and not in the I'm not going to do that in the usual way, but they are kind of connected. So yeah, it's not going to be no intro, no outro, no meat. I'm just going to be talking. It's probably going to, as it seems to be, this will probably be one of my least watched episodes, my least listened to episodes, because it seems like if I'm not showing my ass, if I'm not acting a fool, if I'm not cursing like a sailor, if I'm not talking about stuff that at the big picture really means not a damn thing to me, guess what? People aren't really interested. But it is what it is. That's my plot in life, and that's even more the reason why I'm doing this episode the way I'm doing this episode. So, give me 1 minute. I'm going to show my age right now. People who know me personally, and actually people who've grown to know me through social media or this medium, this form, if you will, know I can be a wild and crazy guy, which is my shout out to Steve Martin from Saturday Night Live back in the late 70s. Wild and crazy guy. But yeah, but I'm trying to think how I'm going to start this. Okay. Last December 10th, 2022, I did have that as one of these little um, nicknames or titles or whatever a couple weeks ago. And I said that was a very important date to yours truly, right? That day was instrumental in my current path, my current form. Um, Prior to that day, let's just put it this way: I like to have a good time, right? Um, I like my cigarettes. I like my beer. I like my Hennessy. I liked to have a good time. I also needed help for certain things. I needed help to go to sleep. Yeah, pretty much. I've been an insomniac for years up until recently. So it's like based on, and I'll say this, even though it's not an excuse, but based on my jobs over the years, I really never had a regular schedule. So I was always a night owl. I was a night, but at the same time, I was a night owl from when I was little. Um, but regardless, I'll get into that later. So I've just always liked to have a good time, like to feel nice. So last year, that date, December 10th, 2022, I get off work. And yeah, I'm just gonna get to it because I see myself kind of going around it. It'd probably be best for me to get through it, and I could probably navigate from there. Um, I get off work, and just so happened, my wife was at a girls' night out overnight. A friend of hers, bunch of women, and I was like, look, oh shit, got the house pretty much to myself. You know, daughter's home. She's grown. Other daughter's home. She's a teenager. She'll probably sleep on her own world. Come home, rev up the PlayStation, cause that was my routine. You play some Madden, play some 2K. I think at the time, I think I just bought WWE 2K. So I come home, but just get nice, and play video games. But I gotta preface this by this: leading up to that day, my body, my body was giving me signs of reminders that you're in your mid 40s. Maybe you should slow down. You're in your mid 40s. You're not as young as you think you are. You're in your mid 40s. What are you doing? Oh, you're getting your chia. Chia.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's all right. They can't see. So I was getting all these signs and getting palpitations. Didn't know what they were. I always used to call them flutters. And I would get them once in a blue, but around in October, early November, I start getting them pretty frequent. So enough to make me want to go to the cardiologist and say, you know what, I need to check this out, like, cause feeling the flood is kind of scary, especially when you're well, technically you're middle age. So go to cardiologist. First time I've been one of them. Uh, take my pressure. Pressure was high. I was eating like shit, and told them what happened. Well, told them what I was experiencing. They asked me like, "Do you smoke?" I said, "Yeah." "Do you drink?" "Yeah." Uh, "Do you get a lot of rest?" "No, not really." "Do you have a stressful job?" "You damn right." So all that led them to give me a monitor to wear for about 3 weeks. So, and I was supposed to jot down, all right, when I felt the flutter, when I felt the palpitation, jot down what I was doing, how long it lasted, what did I do right before that? Like, did it coincide with me smoking a cigarette? Did it coincide with me getting aggravated? Did it coincide with me exerting, um, actually doing some type of exercise? I did that for 3 weeks. So, plus, I was like, you know what? Since I went to the cardiologist, I don't have a primary care because every time I had a primary care, it's almost like I give the primary care the kiss of Steph. I pick a primary care. Not only do they lead to practice, not only do they lead to state, they lead to practice. Oh, you know what? I'm not practicing for now. So every time I had a primary care, they would just disappear, vanish, disappear. So I was like, I need to find me a primary care. So just so I can get all my tests done, get some blood work done. Um, you know, I'm at the age to get my prostate checked. You know, make sure you don't have prostate cancer, the whole nine. So I was like, you know what? Let me try to be proactive. So I went to this primary care, affiliated with. Hold on 1 minute. Yeah, went to a primary care, affiliated with New York Presbyterian, the Old Methodist, and went to see them. Now, I've experienced a lot of death in my family, both extended, both in-laws, both very close. Like February be 3 years since I lost my oldest son, my oldest child. Um, since 2006, I've lost my mom, my grandma, my aunt, my cousin, um, father-in-law, uncle through marriage, my blood uncle. Uh, just over and over and over, just leading up to last year. So every time around holiday time, which it was, of course, I'll never forget my son. Uh, I'm blessed to have three of his children that I can see and nurture and watch them grow, because I know they're part of that. They're all three of them are part of him. Connect the dots, you get him. So holiday season is never great. So lead up in the holiday season last year, I was very emotional. Um, I would have this I don't even know how to explain it, but every time I listen to an El DeBarge song, when he would hit those high notes, I would cry. It would trigger me to cry. So one time I'm driving home and I'm listening to one of these El DeBarge songs. I can't remember exactly what. I think Time Will Reveal. And he hit the high note, and I just start crying. Like I had to pull over and just like bawl out because it made me think of my son. So I say all that. That's the backdrop. So I get to the doctor, and they do these blood tests or whatever, and getting a preliminary read on me. And I would say I'm an open book, but I've learned over the last year that even when I used to say I was an open book, I never really was. But meaning, I want this doctor to know exactly everything that's going on, everything that I deal with, everything that I do, so therefore they can diagnose whatever. If anything comes out, they can diagnose exactly, um, correctly, right? So I tell her about, my loss, tell her about my depressed moods, what have you. And she's like, "Well, have you taken anything for it?" I said, "No, not really. I kind of self-medicate." She's like, "Well, I can prescribe you blah 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 blah." I'm like, being the fact is like fresh in my mind, fresh in my memory of, I had to pull over the other night and fall out crying. F it. Why not? What's the worst that can happen? So she prescribes me this medication. Take it, but I'm still doing me. Still smoking cigarettes. Still drinking. Nobody ever told me that there was like possible interaction, possibility that maybe while you're doing that, you shouldn't be doing that. Oh, by the way, and I got prescribed blood pressure medicine because my pressure was high. Well, higher than normal. So taking the stuff, and by day 3, day 4, all of a sudden, home at night, and all of a sudden, I get a little twitch. But it goes away. I'm like, well, maybe that's my nerves. Okay. Coincided with me drinking a beer, but didn't think of nothing of it. So we lead up to December 10th because I went to the doctor on December 5th. Go to December 10th, come home. Like, yeah, I'm going to be a wild and crazy guy. I'm going to rev up the PlayStation. I don't got to get up in the morning. Which go until the missus called me to go pick her up from Jersey. I'm going to get nice. Plus, end of the work week. What's the worst with a cocktail? It's worse with a cocktail when you're on new medication and you don't know how you're going to feel. So, to give y'all a short version of this, I'm playing, got my Hennessy, chasing, which go, matter of fact, yeah, chasing my hen with the blue moon, smoking my black and mild, feeling great until, what's that, my eyes starts twitching, like uncontrollably. And my hand is jumping. And I'm finding it hard to breathe. I'm hyperventilating. I'm scared to death. What the hell's going on? So of course instead of just, calm me down, no, I was like, you know what? I need to go figure this out. So I go back in the hallway and I smoke another black and mild. That didn't help at all. Because all that did was boost the alcohol in my system and boost the medication in my system. Not a good thing. So when I come back, I'm scared because I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have to go to the doctor. Am I going to have to go to the emergency room? I can't do that. I got my daughters and I can't alarm them. But I don't know what's going on. And I don't want to call my wife because my wife is in another state. So it's not, I don't want to worry her. I just need to calm myself down. So finally I calm myself down, but I'm scared to go to sleep. Because I'm like, if I go to sleep, I might not wake up. Now I'm getting extremely drowsy, tired. So finally, I drank some water, drank like a half a gallon of water, try to flush everything out. And I finally calmed down enough, like, you know what, I think I can go to sleep. Go to sleep. I think I'm sleeping like 4 or 5 hours. I wake up, it's 45 minutes, I'm dressed in sweat. But I'm tired. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? So I go back to sleep maybe like 15 minutes later. I'm waking up every 45 minutes to an hour, thinking I done slept for like 5-6 hours. And every time I'm dressed in sweat. My wife surprised me and actually got a ride home that morning. Because in my mind, I'm like, how am I going? All right, I got to get myself together. I got to go pick up my wife. So she comes home surprised. I'm like, oh, thank you. So I tell her some of it. Like, what's how I'm feeling? I'm like, I don't know. Let's see how this. I'm gonna ride this out. If I'm not getting better, I'm gonna have to go to the emergency room. And by the end of that day, I really wasn't feeling better. So we went to the emergency room. Told them what happened. They're like, "You sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's what happened." They're like, "Okay." My heart rate is like 100, 110. My pressure's up like 150 over 90, something like that. They gives me something to calm me down. Fine. Next day, even though my sleep was crap, because I was waking up like every hour, hour and a half, every 90 minutes I'll wake up drenched in sweat. So I get up, but for the most part, I hyperventilating, calm down. That Monday was great. Go to work Tuesday. Tuesday, I get up. Me and the Mojo King record an episode of Hidden Gems Football, and I got a call from my daughter's high school. She wasn't feeling well. She had to come get picked up. So I had to stop recording. He finished it up. If there's one episode, if you look in the archive, there's one episode that I was there and then magically I wasn't. That's the episode. So I'm still. It's not computing. So I'm still smoking my black and mild on my way there, and I feel like very jittery. But I'm thinking, all right, maybe we smoking will calm everything down. No, it's doing the reverse. So I get to work and I notice that I'm on edge and I can't control my breathing. I'm like, the only time I can calm down is if I'm talking to somebody. If I'm looking at them, I'm talking to somebody. I'm calming myself down. I'm calming myself down. Calming myself down. As soon as I'm by myself, all of a sudden my mind is racing. I'm 1,000 miles a minute. Um, he doesn't watch this, but a co-worker of mine, I'm forever indebted to him because I kind of explained what was going on, and he made a point to stay with me past the time he was supposed to go home, to make sure I can get to the end of that shift and get home because I'm on my way home and I'm like this. All right, I got a doctor tomorrow. I gotta go to the cardiologist. I go there. I go there. He said nothing's wrong with my heart structurally. Palpitations, stress related. Stress related? Yes, stress related. Okay. So I tell them what I'm currently going through because my heart rate is they do the EKG. I've had so many EKGs that week I lost count. It's like, all right, contact your primary care. I'll contact my primary care. My primary care tells me, I don't know what you want me to do. You got to talk to a psychiatrist. There's nothing I can do about that. Fuck you mean there's nothing you can do about that? Long story short, when it comes to that week, because like I said, I'm not gonna be talking for 3 hours. Long story short, when it comes to that week, um, that was that made me second guess my mortality. Made me second guess what the hell am I doing? Made me second guess everything because I'm like, I've never felt this way before. I don't know what's the matter. I'm not in control, and I don't know how I can get better. And from that day, I said, okay, certain things I have to stop. So stop smoking. Uh, Stop drinking hard liquor. Stop taking that medication. It was only 5 days. I said, you know what? I'm not taking that medication. Now, my brother Cool was very integral, especially in the beginning of this process, because he's the person I leaned on the most. Um, And he asked me a question that I didn't understand until months later. He was like, "All right, if you stop smoking, why don't you stop drinking?" I said, "Why?" He said, "Why not?" I mean, not saying they go hand in hand, but if you're stopping that, don't you think maybe you should just chill? I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, just a beer. Like, I ain't drinking no hard liquor. I'm not drinking no Hennessy. It's a Heineken. I can't have a Heineken. Nobody said you can't. But I'm just saying, maybe you should, or maybe you shouldn't. Didn't really hit me. Didn't really hit me. Um, cause I, what hit me was New Year's Day. My New Year's Eve uh, routine. It's almost what mostly all routines are. But you know, which go count down the clock, strike a zero. Happy New Year. In my case, yeah, Happy New Year. Uh, give thanks for making another year. Uh, which go hug the family. Tell everybody that we love them. Reach out to friends and extended family. Wish them Happy New Year. Have a drink, and not so much get effed up, but you know that wasn't really the case this year. New Year's Day, a little bit after midnight, was the last time I had a lick of alcohol. Not even a drop. Because I noticed every time I would have a beer, I would get a little jittery. And I'm like, all right, well, maybe all right, you know what, my brother's right. Maybe I just need to chill with that. But in my mind, I'm like, all right, for now, try to get better, and I'll be back on. So that night, leading up to New Year's, I made two freestyles, chronicling exactly what I went through 2 weeks leading up to that, 2.5 weeks leading up to that. One was called Science Class, the other one was called Panic Attack. It's on SoundCloud. Check them out. SoundCloud of Donnie Chow. While I was doing Panic Attack, I actually was fighting off a panic attack, which is crazy. But I felt the need that I needed to get that done. Because to tell you the truth, at that point in time, I thought those were going to be my last two songs ever. Not so much of I was going to pass away. It was just the fact of like, you know what, New Year. I already had made the decision. Donnie U cannot go on into the new year. Donnie U, my alter ego, my rap slash podcast persona, pretty much my beard in other vernacular to actually cover and hide true me. I told myself, look, if I'm going to really be serious about this, whatever I do, I need to do as me. Scary as it may be, I need to do that as me. If I don't feel comfortable enough to do it as me, why the hell am I doing it? I'm going to show you something. What is that? That's a blue moon in a can. Smitty from the group home in Bergen Beach. Tell you the truth, I should carry this around in my car so next time I see you, I can give it to you. Because this actually is going on a year old. I bought a 16 pack, 16 case of Blue Moon beer down in Virginia when I went to see my grandkids for Christmas. And I brought it back up. And when I say New Year's started no drinking, or should I say started straight edge Mike Steph, this is proof. You can probably call this Blue Moon VSOP, very special Opal. Why I still have it? I don't know. But no, actually, have it because my wife, if she wants to drink a beer, she can drink a beer. I'm not gonna throw it away. But anyway, also, it's some of a mental exercise, mind over matter. It's very easy to say no when it's not within arm's reach. The hard part is to have it actually in the palm of your hand and you're choosing to say no instead of saying no due to the fact of it's not available. That's my PSA for the week. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna. I believe I haven't been on a high horse, and I'm not on a high horse when it comes to anything. Anybody's twist. Because best believe for 30 some odd years, I had a lot of twists. This year, and I'm gonna start truncating a lot of things. SAT word, truncate. This year for my 47th birthday was the first year in 30 years that I brought in my birthday sober. And I know you're probably like, what? What are you talking about? Yeah, you do the math. From the time I turned 18, I always had a drink, smoke, something. This year was the first year, zero. And only thing I had was ginger beer. Shout out to Sister Steph and Brother Mart. Ginger beer, which is like ginger ale. Oh. And the funny thing is, I kind of cut that out because I've cut down my sugar, which is another thing. But yeah, um, part of my, I won't say, yeah, part of my celebration of this year milestone over is being transparent with stuff that normally like, oh no, man, that's none of their business. Oh, I don't, because at the end of the day, I don't care because it's my life, and I need to, and I'm finally comfortable with certain aspects of my life. I'm comfortable with me being me. I go to therapy. That's people always have this. Well, especially lately, the last year, a couple years or so. Um, which go away. Everybody wants to talk about mental health, mental health, mental health, mental health. But a lot of people, I believe, use mental health as a crutch or mental health as an excuse. So, all right, well, I did some effed up shit, and oh, I'm dealing with mental health issues. That's not the case here. I see a therapist once a week. Well, actually, on some occasions, twice a week. Um, and it helps. It helps kind of organize things for me. Um, a lot of people, especially a lot of people from our community, and when I say our community, African American community, Black community, don't believe in therapy, or especially matter of fact, I'll say it like this: as a Black man, to admit going to therapy is almost like putting a target on your back. Like, you a sucker, you soft, yo, you supposed to man up, yo, don't which girl, you gotta handle that. Well, I believe in hindsight, um, being open enough with yourself to say, you know what, I might need a little bit of help in trying to organize and try to rationalize certain things. I think that might be a little bit more manly than trying to man up. Um, but to each his own. I don't tell anybody that they shouldn't. I mean, that they should, just like I wouldn't want anybody to tell me I shouldn't. Um, Also, this year, it's funny because last December, last December 13th, no, last December 14th, I was 197 pounds. That was the lowest weight I had been in like 15 years prior to that. I hadn't been under 200 pounds since my youngest daughter, Main Event K, was born, which coincidentally was a very stressful time for various reasons. None of which had nothing to do with her. That was the joyous part. But everything else surrounding me was pure chaos. That was the year that my mother passed. My mother passed uh, a month before her youngest grandchild was born. But yeah, I was 197 last December 14th. I am currently 198. But it's a way different 198 for various reasons. One, because I ballooned up to almost 225 as recently as July. To find out what was going on with my stomach, because I was having bloating problems, uh, doctor did a myriad of tests and was found that I have fatty liver disease, fat in the liver, not alcoholic fat in the liver. Go figure. But that's because I like snacks. I like I used to like ice cream. I haven't had ice cream since March. Everybody knows about my Wegman stories about my lemon coffee cake. Haven't had that since September. Pretty much it was told to me, you need to lose weight, you need to change your diet. Even though it was told to me prior to that, my philosophy is if somebody tells you that one of your organs is compromised, and these are the steps that you can take to perhaps reverse that damage, and you choose not to, then unfortunately, if something worse happens, you have nobody to blame but yourself. I'm not going to blame myself if, let's say, I end up having to need a liver, I didn't change, and I end up having to need a liver transplant. I'm gonna put my wife and kids through that. I'm gonna put my friends and family through that. When I had the opportunity to change, look, I gave up multiple vices at the beginning of the year. One unspoken vice, or one vice that people don't realize is the vice, is food, certain food, sugar, sweets, snacks. Had to give it up, or at least do everything in moderation. As I said before, no soda. If I do have soda, I have sparkling water or seltzer water, flavored seltzer water, or on the occasion, I used to have a Coke Zero. Nope. Caffeine. Now I have caffeine-free Diet Coke. Have a decaf coffee because the coffee would make my anxiety going insane. Oh yeah, for the last year I've been dealing with extreme anxiety, which is kind of leveled out. Um, yeah, I do get help with that on a daily basis. That's all I would say. But I eat salads, chicken breasts, uh, peppers, apples, grapes. I need to diversify a little bit more, but listen, slow process. As for my snacks, because you know a mother F guy got to have some snacks. Have Lorna Doones. Try to cut out any added sugar or very little amount of added sugar. Lorna Doones. A serving is 4 Lorna Doones. And guess what I have per night? if I have it at night. 4 Lunar Dooms. I started getting some popcorners, which are actually scrumptious. Uh, shoot. Sometimes I just want to chew on something, so I have the popcorners. So one serving is about 17 chips, and guess what? I count out 17 chips. You know, on Friday or Saturday, if the missus don't want to cook, all right, fine. I'll get a rotisserie chicken, some white meat. Sue me. And I'm back down to one. I'm down to 198. Now I got to start firming it up and getting some of this excess fat, burn some of that, and I should be good to go. Um, it's been a very, 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 very trying year. Um, as I've mentioned in the past, you know, my brother passed, um, and one thing I hold steadfast from him is anytime I would start teetering, like, well, you know, one time won't hurt, you know, maybe I could take this melatonin, you know, go to sleep quicker, you know, maybe instead of taking half a tablet, I'll take a whole tablet. Because the times that I had some anesthesia and I came out, I was like, oh shit, I missed this film. This shit feel nice. Um, but one thing that I hold steadfast when it comes from him is you have to be responsible for your own actions. Like, don't be so quick to come up with an excuse. Like I don't like even like saying this word, but if I relapsed and which go, you know what, have a beer when I know it's not the fact that I don't want to, which I don't really care. I mean, I don't have a craving, but I can't drink any liquor. Um, that's you for being weak. Like you're allowing something to control you. Like you're a grown ass man. Which where you have children. Um, you just can't give in to that. Can't give in to certain temptations. Like, and if you do, then that's because you wanted to do it, not because you felt forced, not because oh I couldn't control myself. No, you can control yes or no. Simple as that. And I fully agree. Fully agree. You know. So like I said, this year's been strange, tough, but I believe I've grown a lot in this past year. Had strength that I didn't utilize before. I won't say I didn't have or didn't know I had. I just didn't utilize it. Um, my sister Oo, tells me all the time. She's like, "I'm so proud of you because you just put your mind to it, and that was it. No excuses. Just nope, don't do it. Nope, can't do it. Nope." Now, um, that's the importance of December 10th, 2022 to me. Everything I kind of explain over the last 40 some odd minutes or so. That's the short version, the probably the safest version for me to put out. But I think for the most part, y'all get the gist. Now, I'm going to end this episode um, for the last couple minutes of the episode talking about the project I put out, the trials and tribulations of Mike Steph, the EP. This is my first official piece of music I put out as myself. It's official piece of music I put out at all. And it was important. I'm going to say this on air. As recently as this past Monday, I was going to reach out to my other brother from Gimmick Infringement, Brad Winchester, designer of this spiffy box in design and my logo. I was going to reach out to him and ask him, could he, if time permitting, could he whip something together for my album cover? And then I had second thoughts, like, you know what? I'm going to do it myself because it's going to be as simple as just putting this simply ravishing mug. I had listen. I gotta lighten up the mood a little bit. But it's simple as putting this face on a cover, putting the title, and putting my name. That's it. No gimmicks needed. No, I swear, I'm recording this stuff, and even when I'm listening to it back, I'm like, that's normally what I'd be like, Donnie. I know my daughter should be laughing in the background because she hasn't heard that in months. That was a little inside joke between me and her. Like when I would be recording, and she would hear Donnie, she would know. All right, yeah, I think that's the last take, and she just giggle, or goodbye. I didn't even put that on the EP. So listening to it, I'm like, oh, not there, because no gimmicks needed. Donnie Wu had to cease to exist for me to progress, for me to move on. Um, this this is a big milestone for me. Um, and I hate to say it, like I don't know how to talk. Donnie had a lot of BS with him, and I could always use the cover of that wasn't me. That was my facade. That was my persona. That was, turn it up to 12, which a lot of times it was. But when life imitates art, um, things get a little dicey. Not schizophrenic or anything, but at the same time, the person the part of me that made that persona real couldn't exist because it was sometimes juvenile, sometimes um, it was very detrimental to friendships. Um, I've never been a really trusting person, and like I always tell people, I give people two strikes, if that. I don't give people a chance to get a third, and I would just go on attack. Now, some would think, being that I was very dismayed over the project that I released last year, or that was released last year, that I contributed to, that I would throw shots. Because in the past, I ain't gonna lie, that would be totally me. I would have put out a freestyle. I probably would have gotten on this platform and ranted and raved and cursed mother effers out. I would have probably spoke and burnt a lot of bridges. Not the fact that I need to cross back over them. It's just, you know, set them ablaze. This album wasn't for that. And at this point in time, I'm 47 years old. Like, whatever happened, I have nobody to blame, or I have nobody to be disappointed at but myself, because whatever happened happened. I listened to that EP, and yeah, I'm going to say it. I listened to the Elders EP, and I hear a totally different person than the person I am now. I hear a person that, yeah, I mean, the skills, but I hear a person that will say stuff or will say it to be provocative, but without really being provocative, for shock value, curse it just because they feel like that's what they're supposed to do because they're the wild and crazy guy. See how I bring everything full circle? Because back then the the logo, and I'm gonna do this right now while I'm on air. That logo right there, that logo, I could no longer be that. That ticking time bomb that's about to explode. Couldn't be that. It wasn't healthy. It wasn't healthy physically. It wasn't healthy mentally. It wasn't healthy at all. Because at some time you got to grow. I just found out what the term arrested development meant as recently as 2 weeks ago. And in a lot of cases, I can see that. So, in order for me to be the best husband to my wife, in order for me to be the best version of, or the best father to my children, the best pop to my grandchildren, I have to grow. I can, I, I won't even say I'm on parole. I'm free. I'm alive. Alive, I tell you. I wore this shirt specifically. Read it. Thank you. This is the old Daniel Bryan shirt. I believe this was the shirt that came out when he had to announce his retirement. What, 2015, before he came back in 18, or was it 2016? Yeah, but yeah, this is which one? This is the shirt that came out. Thank you, thank you for the support. Thank you for understanding, and I'm talking about me now. Thank you for support. Thank you for the understanding. Thank you for putting up with this individual that that sits here before you. Um, there's a lot of people I want to thank. I'm gonna go down a short list, and if I don't mention your name, please do not feel offended. It's just I'm trying to get through this while I still have my train of thought before I just divert. Matter of fact, I'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, so this this EP that came out, um, I would say it's a short chronicle of what I just spent the hour talking about. So that's why I said at the beginning it kind of goes hand in hand. I wasn't going to have a review. I wasn't going to break down everything, but it goes hand in hand. Um, it gives you a little bit more context on what I'm talking about. Some said that it's the most vulnerable. Um, I could say that might be true, but it might be true only because you haven't heard my prior work. But also, I'll say it's true because in my prior work, I was still hiding behind something. So I was saying a lot of things, but I could always say, yeah, that's creative license. Yeah, that was just for show. When you put your name on something and you stand on it, then that's what you represent. So I represent this EP that I put out. Um, Not ashamed of it all. Um, it's culmination of a year. All of it was written. Now, don't get me wrong. It did not take me a year to write these 4 tracks. No, it doesn't work like that. But various times throughout the year, I would write, stop, put it down. A couple weeks later, get in the mood, write, stop. For the first 6 months, I wasn't even effing with songs. I wasn't thinking about it. As the year progressed, I started catching the feeling a little bit. I started doing little freestyles on Instagram. Uh, got the recording equipment out. Started doing a little freestyle and put it out on SoundCloud. I start catching the bug. And then I realized, okay, this is something I really want to do. Not just ideas. Like, no, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get this done. And so for those who have listened to it, I appreciate you. For those who have actually bought a download, I appreciate you even more. It's $4. Shoot, cheaper than a big egg and cheese. Shoot, nowadays it's cheaper than a cup of coffee from Dunkin' Donuts. Damn, so cheaper than a cup of coffee from Starbucks. But don't take that as a promotion spiel because it isn't. I didn't do it for money. I did it more, like I said, something that I need to accomplish, a bucket list item, and something that helped. Excuse me. It helped get the bad taste out my mouth when it comes to business that happened last year. And by all means, do not think that I'm throwing shade on anybody because I'm not. You know, that had I choose to look at it like this. That had to happen for this to be a reality. Everything that happened in this last year had to happen because it was meant to happen for me to be in my current place right now. Starting with the palpitations, then which was the pulling over and crying, the getting medication and having a bad reaction to the medication, to having to stop on my feel goods, to having food poisoning, which led to me getting my stomach looked at, which with a various amount of tests led to me realizing I had fat on my liver, which led to me having to drastically change my diet to become more healthy. I mean, look, I walk like 2 miles a day. I know it's not a lot, but it's way more than I used to. I do about 7,000 steps a day. More active. And when I look at the cover of this and the picture of this year's EP, and I look at my face on last year's EP, I can see the difference here in my eyes. More clarity, more focus, more enjoyment. Not just putting on a happy face, just like that meme where they got the happy face, but behind it is scowling and crying. Yeah, that was Donnie. That was me last year. Me now, what you see is what you get. Um, so I'll say all that I'm going to play one track from the EP. And like I said, you can check it out on bandcamp.com under Mike Steph. And, stream a couple tracks, listen to it. If you like it, you like it. You don't, you don't. But it's what I needed to do. So this track is titled December 10th, 2022. And I'll just leave it at that and let y'all listen to it, and I'll be back.
The end of my year, the end of my fear. At the end of my grief, I'm the only one here. There is no one left, it's the life after death. Tired of this COVID shit, tired of holding my breath. I don't believe nothing, everything is a lie. I stress because I care. Insomniac eyes, from psychoanalyze to self-prophesize. None of it even matters, I'm just missing my car. Tired of everyone telling me to hold on. How I'm supposed to progress without my firstborn. If it was the easy, do you think I would call emotional overload? This world is forewarned that I'm about to be on some bullshit, and rightfully so. How many times should I get hit without turning the blow? Fuck taking the high road, since birth I went low. Probably explains why I can't seem to grow. What I'm supposed to do is to late in the game to change what's ingrained. It's it in my brain. I got so much want, but nothing left to gain. My cup runneth over, emotionally drained. My mainframe's insane, immune to the pain. Consider reality, my retribution is tame. Self-care's a joke, I walk around teethless. It allows me to slowly become speechless. Lack of vision started impacting decisions. Out of my 9 lives, half of them were finished. Lack of vision started impacting decisions. Out of my 9 lives, half of them were finished. Lack of vision started impacting decisions. Out of my 9 lives, half of them were finished. Who one kid had made a daily habit bending. Reality of my life, fences needed mending. 10 months and counting, the Lord said keep a mountain. That adversity I face made me wonder what I'm rounding. Keep climbing the mountain but haven't reached my peak. Sneaking to my final form, should be ready in a week. No longer am I weak, stronger than I thought it was. Even though I'm on some meds, I'm finally on a natural buzz. 130 over 85, my heart is under pressure. Blood, no matter what the verdict, only God could be my judge. I remember that when I in December had the sweats with the twitches, the beginning of a bender. Didn't heed the signs, but it changed my life forever. Had the Lexi mix for animal, the malady for 7. Followed by the spirit while I'm haunted by genetics. My past inhibitions made me apathetic. All the false rhetoric came to a settlement. Fork in the road made my pain start kindling. Lack of vision started impacting decisions. Out of my 9 lives, half of them were finished. Lack of vision started impacting decisions. Out of my 9 lives, half of them were finished. Lack of vision started impacting decisions. Out of my 9 lives, half of them were finished. Who one kitten made a daily habit bending. Reality of my life, fences needed mending.
Yeah. Hope y'all enjoyed that. So, I think that's pretty much it. That brings us to the end of this special edition of the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast. I'd like to thank each and every one of y'all for making me in this here podcast the one y'all choose to listen to, the one y'all choose to view. Next week, we'll get back on the track, recapping the week's happenings in the National Football League concerning my New York Jets. But definitely keep a lookout either on this YouTube page of Mike Steph, but probably more specifically on the audio airwaves of the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast, available on the following platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. New episodes drop every Wednesday for the most part. You can check me out on the social medias at Mike Stephens double underscore on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Mike double underscore Steph on the gram, and Mike at Mike Steph underscore on TikTok. Check me out there. Check me out this week, and I'll probably double back with a quickie, a sprinkle of salt episode chronicling my New York Jets, my Jets, in their win this past Sunday against the Houston Texans to bring them to the record of 5-8 with faint, and I do mean faint playoff aspirations still alive. But if you really want to get to the gist of football, Hidden Gems Football, hosted by the Mojo King and myself, Mike Steph. New episodes drop each and every Thursday on the YouTube page of the 19 Media Group and all. And when I say all, I mean all streaming platforms wherever podcasts are available. Yeah. I'm going to get out of here with giving thanks to Sister Steph and Brother Mark for being the sister and brother that I truly need and truly appreciate. I'd like to give thanks to my sister Steph, my sister, ooh, I just said Sister Steph. See, my sister ooh, whose hat I'm wearing right now, she got me this hat. Yes, because she was like, look, brother said something about you don't have a plain black hat. Guess what? I'm going to give my brother a plain black hat, but even more so for being the other half of me that was totally missing for years, and being truly a sounding board and a comforter all in one. So thank you, Sister Ooh. I'd like to give thanks to my lovely wife, Mrs. Ooh, who has persevered with me, has to deal with my tougher times early in the year where I'm still trying to navigate how I was going to manage, or I was about to say how I was managing and dealing with my nicotine fits. Because yes, that is a thing. Just really being the backbone to this family, the backbone to me. 25 years is coming up in February, our silver anniversary, and yeah, I just love her so much, and I truly appreciate her. I like to give thanks to my daughter, who you saw earlier. My daughter, the lovely Tamia, the lovely Mia. She was very instrumental and pivotal in the very beginnings, because she would go out her way like, Dad, you all right? Dad, you okay? She would just, times that I probably couldn't talk to anybody else, she made herself available for me to talk to, which is great when your child becomes an adult and you can actually talk to them in adult terms. I'd like to give thanks to Main Event K, who in her own way helped me navigate it, the very turbulent times at the beginning of this year. I like to give thanks to my son, Chef Mix. He probably like, for what? Don't worry. You'll get that answer very soon, next time I see you. But yeah, I'm not going to leave him out. I'll thank Bros from Gimmick Infringement, but separately, I'd like to give thanks to Brad for not only just being the architect behind this, but someone that, even though we're hundreds of miles away, I don't know, thousands, I don't know, probably thousands of miles away, and but he's always been welcoming. He's always understood, even probably sometimes when I didn't know, I didn't understand it myself. And this is prior, but even more so after, when I would kind of throw little hints out there, he got it. And I truly appreciate that. Appreciate Tyler McDowell Blinken for being that little brother I've never had. And when I say that, I do mean that. Um, yeah, it's funny. It's funny. It's funny if I look back over the last 18 months. Matter of fact, no, I'm gonna say 18 months. I'll look back over the last 14 months, and relationship could have went totally left. It almost did, and I'll take a large brunt of that. But putting that to the side, and I've told him this numerous times, and I'm going to tell him again. Um, our rapport, I swear, that's why I say the little brother I never had, because he's grown and he's an adult and doing phenomenal things. Salute to the graduate degree, like really. I think it's coming up Tuesday, so this is my early congratulations on air. But I mean, he's just doing a lot of great things. But just the purity of his heart, the purity of his friendship has never been forgotten, will never be forgotten. And I really, in a lot of ways, this going on 34 episodes would not be possible. And I told him that when he was on here last, would not be possible for him if it wasn't for him. And I know somebody's like, huh? But that's your trust and believe. When I say that, I'm not being facetious. I'm being true. So appreciate you. Give a thanks to the Mojo King. Um, the Mojo King. And I'm going to say this, and I'm probably not even going to discuss it with him, but I'm going to say it on here, and I'm just going to let it. I'm going to let it fly. The Mojo King was very instrumental in me finding a part of me that didn't exist before. Um, Normally, I react certain ways and don't think about anything after the fact. Or normally, I don't allow things like, oh, that hurt me. Or, darn. And I'm not saying anything, and I'm not saying this in that realm, but the Mojo King has helped in ways he will never know. And I give thanks to that. And if I know if and when he listens to this, people are like, yo, what is Mike Steph talking about? Just trust and believe. I appreciate you, brother. And like I said, if you ask me, I'm probably not going to divulge, but I appreciate you. I really do. And I give thanks. But on top of the thing that we do every week, that he opened his house and let me in, and as CM Punk would say, with mud fully caked on the bottom of my sneakers. But my mud is his mud and vice versa. Just like one of those outtakes this week when I told him, you go high, I go low, you go You go low, I go high. Like this is the dynamic. So, and I've always wanted some entity to bounce stuff off of. Somebody, the entity to have somebody that to bounce the energy off of. Like it does just A1. Um, I like to thank Money Mike, my brother from another. Um, we both suffered a loss, and he's been there from that time, and he he's been there from that time, and never a time goes by that he doesn't just reach out just to check, see if I'm okay. Sometimes I'm in my own world, and I truly apologize for that because sometimes I get into my own head and I just it's like this. But um, we've been bros for damn near 30 years ourselves. Matter of fact, yeah, over 30 years. I'm saying almost 30 years, over 30 years. You know, time passed. People which go out our paths, just separating everything. But Money Mike is a real one, and I appreciate him greatly. Um, and I know he'd be like, I know what you're talking about. It's nothing. No, I really do. Um, and I like to thank my oldest son, who's not here in the physical, but always here, always present. I like to thank him for becoming the man he became, for leaving a legacy behind that they'll carry on in his name, and for making me the person that I ultimately became now. Um, I like everybody had faults, but he knows that I've always tried my best, and even now I'm going to try my best to make sure that his children want for nothing. And I'm not talking about just materialistic. I'm just talking about as in the love and everything that they would have received when if he was here in physical, they would still be with. That's my job. That's my duty. And I thank him for that. And I thank my brother Cool for just being also the brother I never had, blood brother, because from the time we met, that was my brother. Um, for always accepting me for me, being me, always accepting me for being me, and not allowing me to pull him into this podcast and shit because he was not trying. He was not trying to hear it. He was not trying to hear it. So, but no, but in all honesty, like I miss him dearly. So yeah, I think that's it. That's it. I think I got everything out. So with all that being said, I will check y'all next week. Same Mike Steph time, same Mike Steph channel, and till next week. Goodbye.